Hello, welcome back to another kitchen chat with Olivia. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some healthy habits that have truly changed my life. So I'm just gonna get straight into this one. You might want to grab yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea for this one, and even a notepad. I've wrote some notes for this video, and I'm not going to go in any particular order. I feel as though I'm super happy to be sharing this with you because these are things that I practice daily and have really just changed the way I feel about each day as it comes, my perspective on a whole. Number one is going to be meditation. This is something I started implementing like a year or two ago. One of my friends was telling me for years, actually, she was like, oh, you really should try meditating. I feel like it really help you. And I used to sort of, I'm not gonna lie, I used to think it was a bit maybe airy fairy, or like I just thought you had to be maybe a monk or like a super spiritual person to be into practicing meditation, and I just had a completely like a view on it, I guess. When I started that, like I instantly felt such a difference. I really struggled when I first started meditating, switch off, and I still have days where I find it harder to do so, but it just helps really calm my mind and I feel so much more focused. And I mainly do 10 minutes in the morning, but I have thought about recently like increasing my meditation to maybe half an hour in the morning, or maybe doing it also on an evening as well. I do sometimes do it before I go to sleep, but yeah, I've always gone onto YouTube, and one of my favourite like meditation pages is called Great Meditation, and they're the ones that I follow. They post really regularly on there, so I'll leave that linked down below. They're really great and I love the lady's voice. Yeah, super calming voice, and I think it's good to find someone that you like the sound of and just have a good feel with. But yeah, that has just helped me and saved me so much throughout lockdown, like having that as part of my routine. I like to do it first thing in the morning, just after I've gotten up. Don't get me wrong, there's days where I don't feel like doing it or I'll skip it, but I always notice such a big difference from doing that. So that is the first habit that has completely changed my life. And even if it's not something you would consider, like just give it a try. Give it a try a few times and I promise you, you will feel something from within. It just helps keep you so much more grounded. I feel like I can have more focused days and my mind isn't just like feeling like I'm going to explode. Like I feel like we all have so much on all the time and it's so hard to focus on like doing one thing at a time throughout our days, and you just feel like you're jumping here, there and everywhere. And whilst we're kind of like on our morning routine, the second one I'm going to mention is not going on my phone first thing. This is something I've got to keep myself on check with. Like I need to sort of like really make sure I keep this up, because there's days, or like say on a weekend, I'll just feel like laying in bed scrolling, or say something comes up, someone calls me or whatever. But this has helped me heaps and bounds, like first thing in the morning, like not to get repetitive because I think I did mention this in my morning routine, but if you think about it, like when you first wake up, like you need to check in with yourself, like put your plans in action for the day, you know, write down what you're grateful for before you even think about going on social media and seeing what anyone else is up to first thing. So doing that and just making that a habit, not picking up your phone, checking your notifications, because I started feeling like it was definitely in the first lockdown in the UK, oh my god, like I kept kind of waking up with this really strong anxiety like first thing, and I couldn't really pinpoint where it was coming from. I just don't think it really helped me, like going on my phone first thing, checking, seeing what's going on in the world before I've even like thought about how I'm spending the rest of my day. And since like I've started doing that, like I definitely noticed like just my anxiety in the morning, I just feel a lot more light, if you know what I mean. So another healthy habit that isn't on like morning routines, and it just with people in general, is having boundaries with whether that be friends or family. I feel like especially with family, oh my god, like there's kind of like a, not a stereotype, but like it's almost like known, isn't it? Like family can get away with a lot more. Like we seem to accept a lot more like maybe issues or grief or negativity of a family member than we would if they were a friend. And in my opinion, like I just don't think that is okay. Like family can be just as toxic as friends. So in that context, that's where I've learned just how important having boundaries, especially if that figure is someone who is like often in your lives and you maybe see them quite regularly, that kind of thing. I just think having boundaries and voicing your opinions, not sort of like pushing down thoughts, feelings just to please or keep the peace kind of thing. So when I was younger, I was the complete opposite. Like I was very outspoken, and well, I always feel like even now I feel like I say what I think, but the amount of times I just wish when I was younger I felt like I needed to think a lot more before I let something flow out of my mouth. And then as I learned like the hard way obviously of like speaking very openly and then sometimes offending or like upsetting people, but it wasn't my intention ever, I sort of went the opposite way and went a bit more reserved and careful what I said. And then yeah, over the past few years I've just found like a happy medium of finding my voice again, and I feel like that is just from practicing my boundaries, and I feel so much better doing that like with friends and family. If someone's bringing negativity constantly into your life and you like voice that with them and they don't change, like I just think the best thing to do is just eliminate that from your life, because we don't need that, and it just brings your whole vibration and aura down if something's not sitting right. So I think setting boundaries, having your lines, just saying, look, this is as far as I'm willing to go, or as much as I'm going to take from this point onwards, and if they don't respect that, then yeah, that is their problem, not necessarily yours. It can be so challenging sometimes, especially when people keep pushing at that boundary, but I think that's the point, just to remove yourself from that situation. The next one is splitting up my day with like different walks and listening to a podcast like whilst I'm walking and doing things around the house. So I found like whilst we've been working from home more and obviously things aren't as open, it can feel quite lonely, even though like obviously I know a phone call or a Zoom call accessible on your phone. I did feel like throughout the day and stuff, just when I was like cleaning and stuff, I quite like to be engaging like and just listening to different types of conversation. And as I'm sure we all like, we spent so much time in our homes and stuff, I think there's a real lack of just connection and conversation really, like on a whole, and especially with stuff that like maybe you're interested in that are different, or like say if you don't feel like you have your usual community or conversations that you'd have in a workplace or whatever. So I found like over the past year and a half I've absolutely loved listening to podcasts, and there's just podcasts like for absolutely everyone, and anything that you like listening to, you can definitely find it on Spotify. They're normally free. Sewing platforms, this and the other. So that is something I've absolutely loved. If you're working from home a lot, I definitely think it's so helpful, and just like it's a lifesaver, to be honest. Splitting up your day with like getting out of the house, just changing up your like scenery and stuff, and taking different routes, going longer ways rather than just sitting in the house all day long and not really like getting out. I just feel like I end up going stir crazy doing that. So I love getting out, taking Penelope with me, going for a few walks, and then just popping my headphones in and listening to a podcast. And the same, like if I'm cleaning the house, I will just always have something in the background that I like listening to, and I find that so enjoyable. So that is definitely another habit that has really helped and changed things for me on a daily. And you just learn so much, like even my terminology, I feel like it's helped that. Like say if you don't really like reading as much, I think doing that opposed to just sitting on your phone, like ending up in like an Instagram hole or TikTok hole, it's just something where you can like do kill two birds with one stone. And the next one is, I didn't really know how to like title this one, but just focusing on being a better you than yesterday. So this is something like relatively recently that I've been thinking about. Recently, sometimes I'll get so caught up in being productive, trying to be on the ball with everything, and then say if I have like just a few bad days of not getting as much done as I hope to or set out to, and then thinking like constantly just focusing on like long-term goals rather than just day to day. So I think when it gets to the end of each day, I really like just thinking, right, what have I achieved today? Like just writing a few notes, like what have I achieved today? How was it better than yesterday? And that just ends my day on such a better note and makes it feel actually like a lot more enjoyable, rather than just constantly like striving for the end goal, when actually it's what you do day to day, those like little habits that make the biggest like long-term difference. Another one, like these are so broad, aren't they? Like I feel like I could do so many of these healthy habits. If you would like a part 2 of this, do let me know, because I have so many, but I just tried to narrow it down. Okay, so something else is finding other ways of keeping your water intake up. So like say if you're just not the biggest fan of water, I've recently been absolutely loving ginger tea, so I should probably get a strainer for it or something. I love like grating some ginger up and having it with some honey and hot water, and I've been having that every day for probably like the past month and a half or something, and I find that it's so nice at like cleansing your system. It's a really good inflammatory source and just so good for you. So if you're someone who does struggle with drinking enough water like throughout the day and you end up turning into like fizzy drinks all day long, definitely look at other ways. Like definitely try the ginger tea and honey, because that has been a massive hack for me, and I feel like it's helped with my skin and just really makes me feel like health. So the last one I want to mention is just music, really, to like lift your vibration. So 2 ways. So for my workouts, like I absolutely love listening to Mixcloud. Like I prefer mixtapes rather than mixtapes to say listening to Spotify, because I just like get into the chorus of each like song or whatever, and then I just feel so pumped up, and I really think that makes all the difference. Like I tried training without music a few weeks back and just had such a half-hearted workout, so I love getting like fired up with like a good like hip hop or rap kind of playlist. So updated all the time on Mixcloud, and they're free as well. The other one is like, say if you've got a really big mammoth task that needs doing and you've just got like a lack of energy. I love Afrobeat for like when I'm feeling low energy, and just moving your body, dancing in your house and stuff really helps just like lift your vibe up, and instantly it just makes you feel energized. Like I'll always say to Mason like, oh, can we just have like a dance around the kitchen if we're both feeling a bit flat, and I just think that helps so much. Anyway, so I wanted to keep this video relatively short. I didn't want to like go on an absolute tangent, although I really could on this. Let me know if you would like to see another of this style of video. I would love to do another one because I have even more, and I've had to really like cut this short. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't, I would love you to stick around by liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.